My name is Heath McConnell. My article is from FoxNews.com called Illinois Discrimination Case Raises Questions About Religion in the Workplace. It was written by Doug McElway on March 29, 2011. This article examines an alleged case of religious discrimination that occurred in December 2007. Safura Khan was a math teacher at MacArthur Middle School, located in Berkeley, Illinois. She was also a devout Muslim. She decided that she wanted to attend that year's annual pilgrimage to Mecca, also known as the Hajj, and asked for 3 weeks of unpaid leave to do so. Because the 2007 Hajj was scheduled to begin just before her students would take their final exams, the school denied her request. She resigned and filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, also known as the EEOC. The EEOC agreed with her and sent her case to the Department of Justice, which filed a suit against the school board in December 2010. The article further mentions how this case has caused debate over the issue of religious accommodation. Some believe giving Muslims time off for the Hajj is a reasonable request and is essentially the same as a Jew or a Christian asking to be excused from working on Saturdays or Sundays. Others believe that granting requests like this places an undue hardship on the business, which is an exception to the federal law that requires reasonable accommodation of religious beliefs and practices. There is also a concern that attempting to accommodate foreign cultures in the wrong way can sometimes cause cultural balkanization, a condition in which groups of people will separate and somewhat isolate themselves instead of integrating with society as a whole. This article contains 2 issues that managers need to consider. The first issue is the increase in cultural and therefore religious diversity. In the past, workers at American companies were predominantly Christian, along with a few Jews and non-religious people. However, now that businesses are increasingly global, the employees are coming from increasingly diverse cultural backgrounds. As a result, religious beliefs that were almost non-existent in America are becoming increasingly common among American employees. These religions include Hinduism, Buddhism, and Islam. Managers need to be aware of this increase in religious diversity so that they can fulfill their requirements under federal and state law to properly accommodate the religious beliefs of their employees. The second issue is that managers must know how to properly manage religious accommodations and religion in the workplace. Employers are required to reasonably accommodate religious beliefs, provided that the accommodation does not place an undue hardship on the business. Much of the debate comes from defining reasonable accommodation and undue hardship. Further, these definitions often depend on the company in question. Using the article's example, the teacher asked for 3 weeks of unpaid leave. Assuming there were no issues with finding a substitute teacher, this accommodation is probably reasonable and, as would be argued, should be allowed. However, if she had asked for paid leave, or if finding a substitute would incur significant expenses, then it would probably not be reasonable, since it would place an undue hardship on the school. There are many other examples. Generally speaking, allowing a man to wear a beard or a woman to wear a headscarf in accordance with their religious beliefs is a reasonable accommodation, dress codes notwithstanding. However, this accommodation may not be reasonable at factories with high-speed machinery due to safety issues. Keeping pork products away from employees who practice Islam or Judaism is generally an acceptable accommodation and a reasonable one. It is not reasonable at a pork factory. These examples illustrate how a manager needs to understand the issues and try to provide accommodation whenever reasonably possible and whenever it's not going to place an undue burden on the business. In addition to accommodations, a manager must also know how to properly handle religion in the workplace. Allowing too little can create an environment that suppresses individual expression and creativity. Banning a back office worker from wearing a necklace with a cross or David's star would be an example of this extreme. However, allowing too much religion in the workplace can create a hostile environment to those with different religions or no religion at all, and can possibly lead to lawsuits. Allowing an employee to use the employee's company email account to frequently send unsolicited religious emails to coworkers would be an example of this extreme. For examples that do not clearly fall into one of these two extremes, managers need to carefully weigh the interests of the employee, the interests of the employee's coworkers, and the interests of the business as a whole. Doing so will ensure the right balance of religion in the workplace. In summary, this article examines the issue of religious accommodation in the workplace. It demonstrates that managers need to recognize the increase in religious diversity and know how to properly manage religion in the workplace and religious accommodations. I appreciate your time and look forward to your comments.